fix the clock. The tempo. The Chiefs changing the set. All right, here is Booker. Gonna get it to about the 4-yard line. See where they spot him inside the 5. Gain of 2. Should not take the Chiefs by surprise. The Giants running their offense at the second fastest clip in the National Football League. That should do it for the first quarter. 13-second clock. And get going. I think this is going to mitigate some of the issues they have on the offensive line. But an impressive drive in the first quarter. Giants and Chiefs. The shout out, go Chiefs. All right, 2 after minute for copyright music as that concludes the first quarter. Score is 7-0. Second down and goal at the Kansas City 4-yard line. 4 yards to Pater for the New York Giants. The offensive line, with an impressive. Hooker, gonna get it to about the 4-yard line. Best gloves. Giants are lining up pretty fast here. Tries to fix the clock. The tempo. The Chiefs changing the set. All right, here is Hooker. Gonna get it to about the 4-yard line. See where they spot him inside the 5. Gain of 2. Should not take the Chiefs by surprise. The Giants running. Those dicks. Tries to fix the clock. Second glove and get going. I think Jerome Booker
to Singapore or Asia first. Kasamahan sa CNA TV. May mga kasali ni
Shifting gears now, if you, like a billion other people on the planet, use an iPhone, you'd have noticed Apple's privacy changes in April.
Isang pamilya tayo. And so we're providing resources and investing on collecting records para magawa natin ang lahat. Hindi lang ng mga member ng simbahan namin, kundi ng lahat ng tao. So we preserve records for the public para makatubaran.
Shifting gears now, if you, like a billion other people on the planet, use an iPhone, you'd have noticed Apple's privacy changes in April. Apps had to start asking users if they wanted to be tracked. Unsurprisingly, most people said no. In fact, analytics firm Flurry says more than 80% of iPhone users worldwide have opted out, and that's wreaking havoc on tech giants that rely on your data to target ads, especially Facebook, now known as Meta. It stands to lose the most. Ads accounted for nearly all of Facebook's revenue, and it blamed Apple for slower than usual growth in its latest earnings call. Google's parent Alphabet.
ito.
John Ross catch that. That was a great catch.
I still know how much these Magnolia wants to do that tonight.
Here is the end around. There is Tony Cradles. Sterling Shepard. And some great catch by the Giants. Gain of 18. We talked about Patrick Graham after the 18-yard grab. Jason Garrett after the back. Tony. You're running late, and the Chiefs don't know that they control the football. Pretty fast here. Tries to fix the clock. A touchdown. That Paco, who got the ball? My bad. Yeah, the. Hey, we hit 21 catch.
Because I think, from what I understand, is they are not yet linked until you link them. So in this competition, these groups of thousands of records, they're trying to help people and make links to eternal relationship.
Great meeting. And even as
searchable so that people can have, other people can have the discovery experience, so to speak, na kapag when you type in the name of your lolo, nakita mo dahil someone indexed it in the past. Interesting. Pero, for example, yung ganung efforts, And na-mention na kanina, maganda yung nagiging ano niya kasi it was also made available not just for the members of the church but even for people outside na mababasa din nila na and magandang initiative. Yes, kasi me too. In fact, recently you had a big turnover of parish registers. To clarify to the listeners, parish registers are records of baptism, marriage, and burial. And the Catholic Church, for instance, has been keeping those registers for in the Philippines since the 1600s. We have those are our earliest registers, and all the way until the present, we have them. It's interesting for family tree reconstruction because it has all the essential elements of a family tree. It has the relationships between parent and child, child and grandparent, and so on. So you made a big turnover of these registers. Yes. Could you tell us how you had the registers in the first place and how the turnover went over?
So sa Pilipinas, in particular, nagsimula kaming mag-microfilm, mag-preserve ng mga records ng mga parish, civil registries, noong mga mid-1970s. So that effort has started.
Station contributes to climate change because it depletes
Over the
forests
years,
and
we've collected
absorbs vast amounts of
thousands and thousands of microfilms, which we have later on digitized. And in the recent years, nag-native capture na rin kami digitally.
Native capture?
Oo, ibig sabihin hindi na dumaan sa microfilm. We use digital cameras na to capture these records and record and preserve them. And nung na-convert na lahat ito into digital, so it turns out merong around 14 million parish records that have been produced from that collaborative effort by Family Search and the Catholic Church in the Philippines. So binigay namin yung lahat ng kopya na yun sa Catholic Bishops' Conference in the Philippines.
14 million.
Yes, over dekada namang produkto yun ng pag-picture.
Napakaraming pwede makagamit niya kaya nga dapat yun. Mas dumadayo pa yung mga researchers na mas ma-engage sa paggamit ng mga sources na yan. And sometimes the churches don't have the resources, the individual parishes don't actually have the resources to do these preservation work and to preserve the resources. And so I had a question asked me by email that they were asking if they could ask you. This is
So meron pala tayong listener from ano to?
This is an undergraduate student from Trinity College. Her father is from San Jose in Batangas, and her father was asking about the parish registers that they have in San Jose and Batangas that actually are from the late 1700s into the 1800s, and they're in a very poor state. And they found out that these registers are actually already digitized and with the Church of Latter-day Saints. So all this work of having to restore the documents and having to save the information that's in the documents, in part, that's already been done. As parishes, as people now who want to use these documents and use the files that are with the LDS, how would they do it? How would they request? How would they access the materials and bring it to their parish? What would be an acceptable way?
So usually we work directly with the archive, in this case yung parish. If they
Interesting. Okay.
I have one question regarding those register na digitized.
Yes.
For example, most of these documents or parish registers, saan sila galing sa Pilipinas? Saan ang mga parishes? Like, yung geographical location?
From all over the Philippines.
Oh,
May mas konta. So, parang mabibilang ko lang sa mga daliri ko yung at least dioceses na hindi pa namin nakatrabaho. So we have records from all over. Mas konti sa Mindanao. Oh, may mga challenges tayo dyan. Some areas like Bataan and Palo and Leyte, hindi pa natin na-capture. Pero most of the places in the Philippines meron tayong records.
And part of thinking about it is every parish within Spanish-dominated Philippines was producing these records.
Yes.
Right? So you've got that data for everywhere.
Yeah, even diba si Kasmi Toby, meron siya mga records sa Marianas. Diba, may mga nakita mga records sa Marianas, mga deportation records, ganyan. Nakita ko yun noon eh. So, hindi lamang yung Philippines, even yung mga colonies outside, colonies ng Spain during the Spanish period.
We're talking of the Philippines, but LDS is providing the service for around the world.
Yes.
Global.
Yeah.
Global ito. And we've been doing it for
In Mexico. Kasi even yung records sa Mexico ay accessible din.
So I guess we're going to the scholarly dimension of this, being the history department show.
Medyo na ako
Yeah.
Very interesting yung yung doing family research. Anyway, sige. Napakabilis ang oras, no? Pupunta na tayo mamaya sa ating last segment. Pero pansamantala po muna natin puputulin na ating programa, ang DZUP 16.
Good.
Classmate Alvin.
We have both produced MA thesis on using these parish
Oo.
registers from Belgium.
And syempre siguro sa mga natin, mga classmates na gusto rin gumawa ng research, magandang makapag-share at may maitanong din kayo kay classmate Felv. Yes.
Okay, well, I'll talk a little bit about what I did, and you can talk about, Alvin can talk about a little bit what he did, so that our listeners can see the types of analyses that can be done. Well, elites were intermarrying amongst themselves, because that's their common notion, right? And what I find is that actually for the 1850s, they weren't, which was kind of strange. And I tried to explain it in terms of I call it a centripetal pull of Pueblo social life, because all the social activities were within the Pueblo itself. It meant that you could not really meet many other elites, and so you had to marry down if you were going to find a partner at all.
Ayun. Ikaw, classmate Alvin.
So kami gumamit naman ako ng mga
na-share mo na to dati dito. Pero
ng baptismal registers. Pero hindi ako really nag-focus dun sa baptism. Pero yung relation nung nung child, tsaka nung parents niya dun sa mga godparents. So, special, di ba, kasi merong historical assertion na yung mga godparents na gumula yan sa mga among peers, colleagues, okay, if not higher socioeconomic status. So, kung yung kay Classmate Hobie mas malalim, yung sa akin ay hindi siya ganun kalalim pero mas malawak. So, mas marami akong tinignan ng mga...
I studied 1 year in 1 town. It's so minute.
Actually, 1 year, 1 town lang din. Pero, yung tingnan ko yung tulad naman gini Classmate Hobie, political status, ano pa yung occupation, geographical location, even yung ethnicity, then yung residence. Kasi para ipakita kung yung mga parents ba, pinipili ba nila yung mga godparents kung sila ba ay single class, sila ba ay mga co-workers, or same ba yung residence nila. So, mas, hindi siya ganun kalalim, pero mas, yung breadth, yung aking mas sinalakay doon, yung connections ng mga family doon sa mga godparents. At yung mga godparents, may mga relatives ba ng mga godparents, ganyan.
So, you tackled so many dimensions.
So, ginamit ko yung mga parish registers doon para makita yung mga connections between yung families and yung mga, well, para mailabas din yung mga connections within doon sa community.
And what was very amazing about the parish registers you were using is that occupations of parents were there and occupations of grandparents, I think, were there also, no?
Yeah.
What were they usually?
Siyempre, dahil yun ay 19th century, Molo, Iloilo, marami sa mga yan ay mga kronalero, mga laborers. I think, according to Alfred McCoy, ay mga laborers yan sa port area. Pero makikita mo rin, for example, yung mga Chinese, iba yung kanilang mga occupations, mas commercial.
So what's fascinating is the different data, socioeconomic data that you can find on a parish register. You can find geographic location, you can find age and death, you can find economic, their occupation, political status, you can find ethnicity, it's there. And all those different elements can end up becoming variables, right? And you can study it quantitatively. And also, when you end up studying quantitatively, because so much data is available from many different towns in the Philippines, and not only in the Philippines but around the world, you end up with a lot of data that you can study comparatively across time and space. So you can quantitatively study changes in social networks over time, and you can compare Manila versus Egypt, right? For instance.
Actually, yun yung una kong plan na comparative study ng mga rural area with urban areas. Pero syempre, di ba dahil nagsimula pa lang ako dun sa gantong field ay medyo ninarrow down ko muna siya into a single municipality. Baka kasi Classmate Hobie kayang-kaya niya na yung mga
part of the difficulty is the hundreds of registers. How many baptisms in a year in San Pablo? 700. Wow. If you encode 20 R, that's take you a very long time to encode everything. But yeah.
Pero actually sanayan lang din talaga.
Yeah, muscle memory after a while.
Muscle memory nga lang.
Oo, totoo yan.
So kaya-kaya practice ni classmate Aaron.
Oo. Hindi kasi maganda talagang explore yung mga available materials talaga, especially with the digital archives.
And hindi ka mauubusan.
Oo.
Hindi ka mauubusan.
Yes, Classmate Hobie.
Actually, I'd like to ask where Diego is from and where you're from in Isabela, and are there registers available for those places? Do you think we could check that?
Yes, Isabela, meron. We're from...
Actually, madami. Well, because my family is from different places.
Iloilo, for sure, meron.
Yeah, Iloilo, Bacolod,
meron tayo.
Lucena, and I'm not sure where in Ilocos and La Union, and then also Batangas, Taal.
Meron sa lahat ng yun.
San Juan in Batangas, I've seen the parish registers for that town.
Yeah, kasi well, hindi to mas contemporary, World War II period. Pero very interesting din for me kasi to look into the registers na available doon kasi there are rumors naririnig ko lang sa mga kwento ng kamag-anak na meron kaming a relative who joined the guerrilla pero hindi ko naman kilala kung sino. And very wala na. Baka makita ko sa register makasulat ako about it.
Saan kayo sa Isabela?
Ang sa pagkakaalam ko po ay kami, migrants from Ilocos talaga. Pero nagsettle sila sa Jones, Isabela. So, very, very small, barrio along the banks of the Cagayan River.
Jones ay municipality.
Oo. First class municipality in Isabela.
Are there registers available for Jones?
Yes, for Jones, we have 1922 to 1931. Most of the towns sa Philippines, meron tayong 1922 to 1931. Those are from the National Archives. For some reason, yung National Archives, meron silang ganitong record set from the American period, 1922 to 1932, 31. Pero kung mga migrants kayo, sa Ilocos, mas maraming records doon.
Since binanggit niyo yung World War II, I was really thinking as someone who's interested in military history, baka pwedeng gamitin yung mga registers na ito to see how, say, conflict affects a certain town during a certain period.
Mortality.
So, yun. So, di ba kasi may cause of death, di ba? Causes of death na record, or if ever, would there be interruptions in, say, the register? Kasi nga if there are large scale conflicts like the revolution na maraming upheaval or World War II. So I feel like reflect dun yung effects ng conflict sa isang lugar, based on dun sa registers na yun.
There's so many opportunities to study social history. Like, for instance, life expectancy. I found out life expectancy in the Cardan in the 1860s was 50 years old.
Tsaka of course, diba? Kita mo, for example, may mga epidemics, may mga diseases, or even during the revolution talaga, nagkakaubusan talaga ng mga tao, ganyan. So, kaya nga very interesting kasi quantitatively ay makakonfirm mo yung mga events talaga kung gano'ng karami namatay, ganyan.
Ang dami pa natin pwede pag-usapan, pero kulang yung oras natin. Pero pagsamantalang muna nating tatapusin ang ating
Oo nga, siguro,
program.
Classmate Fel, kung meron kayong gustong huling sabihin para sa ating mga listeners, ano kaya yun?
Yun, invite ko lang lahat na nakikinig to check out yung familysearch.org, Family Tree app sa Play Store or App Store. At simulan ninyong explore ang inyong family tree o i-build.
Ayun, sige. Narinig niyo mga classmates. Hanapin niyo lang sa App Store yung kanilang app. Salamat sa pagtutok sa amin ngayong hapon. Ang DZUP 1602 ay kasabi ng KBP, Kapisanan ng mga Broadcaster ng Pilipinas. Sa DZUP 1602,
Kasali ka.
Coalition is it?
Alternative facts? Anong mga ito?
Araw ng Kagitingan.
Inoy Aquino Day?
Araw ng Kalayaan.
Para saan ang mga ito?
I am sorry.
History?
Puro memorization.
Boring nga ba?
Kasaysayan. Anong saysay nito?
Placing the entire Philippines under martial law.
Sabay-sabay nating alamin sa malawakang talakayan ng kasaysayan on air. Broad Kasaysayan,